We're live.
We're live? Oh
We're
no.
live.
All right. We are live.
We are
Now it says we're
live.
live. It takes forever to come up on my screen.
Well, guys, welcome back to Sports Scrutiny Live. We are back. I am BJ.
And I'm what's my name?
Rob Bennett.
I think so, yeah. But we're live. We're live.
We are live. We are live. Did you guys miss us?
I think they did.
I think they
Maybe a
did
little
too,
bit.
dude.
Maybe a tiny
Just a tiny bit, yeah. Just a tiny bit. Well, Rob, start us off, man. What you got for us?
bit. Well, week 11 was we learned some things about some things in the NFL. Um well, starting
Indeed.
off Thursday night, we had a blowout. Basically, the Steelers kind of just destroyed the Titans. Uh, the game kind of got boring around the third quarter, but the Steelers beat the Titans 40-17. That was uh that was a good start to the week. You know, we were expecting some blowouts and some shutouts and whatnot, and then we had the Lions in Chicago. They beat the Bears 27-24. That was a close game. And then the
Oh boy.
uh, good old Packers in
I'm
Green
glad
Bay.
you mentioned that.
Good old Packers in Green Bay got shut out by the Baltimore Ravens 23-0. That I didn't expect that, to be honest. I mean, I know the Packers are missing their golden boy, but I wasn't expecting them to be shut out, to be honest. I mean, they still got weapons. They still got a solid team, semi-solid team. So for them to
Oh
be
man.
shut out by the Ravens 23-0, that was a shock. And then we had a really good game between Jacksonville.
Wait, before you go on, just before you move on, Rob, I just wanted to say something about Brett Hundley. 3 interceptions, 3 interceptions in one game. That's not acceptable at all.
Now that you mentioned that 3 interceptions, just wait till I get down to the Bills and the Chargers game. Okay,
Okay.
okay,
All right. I
but
mean, I just want to talk about how somebody in the NFL, is in the professional football league, is playing like a high schooler. But anyway, Rob, go ahead, man. I'm gonna let you continue on.
we the Jaguars went to Cleveland and they played a tough game. Cleveland played a tough game against the number one rushing offense in the league, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it wasn't until the last 2 minutes of the
Mm-hmm.
game that the Browns really started messing up. They threw 2 picks at the end, or not 2 picks. They fumbled the ball twice, and it would have been 2 automatic touchdowns, but the refs thought that it wasn't a fumble, so they blew the whistle, and then obviously watched the replay. Noting that, I think that all turnovers should never get the whistle. If it's a questionable call, don't blow the whistle. Just let them get up and tackle the guy. Because ultimately,
Right.
if they're going to review the turnover anyways, then they should just let it play out. Because if the guy picks up a fumble and runs it into the end zone,
And then he stops. Yeah,
yeah,
like if he because most of the time they blow the whistle, and then the guy who fumbled the ball and who recovered the fumble
just
stops.
stops running. Yeah.
When
But think about it. Like if
yeah,
the
when
quarterback fumbles it and a middle linebacker picks it up and he's running, clear fumble six. But the whistle's
right,
blown. He stops running. Like, oh, it wasn't a fumble. Then they obviously replay the
review the play.
turnover. Yeah. And it's all come back as a turnover. They should automatically give him the 6 points because there was nobody near him, or they
Mm-hmm.
should not blow the whistle at all and just let it run out. Because who cares? One guy gets tired. Oh well, that's his fault. Everybody makes mistakes, but I'd rather have the chance of getting the 6 points than get the whistle blown too early and then have my offense go out there and be forced to play downs. You know what I mean?
Well, do you think that is a way? Do you think that should become like a like? Do you think that should become like a rule? Like
I
let the
think
play.
that even if it's all turnovers should play out until either a tackle or a score, because ultimately they're going to review it anyways.
Right.
No matter what happens, they review all turnovers and all touchdowns. They've been doing that for years.
Mm-hmm.
So if like if say you sack a quarterback
Mm-hmm.
and he fumbles it, but
Okay.
they have that questionable, like if his knee was down or something, doesn't matter. Just let the play run out. If his
I
knee was down
agree.
after that, if his knee, like review it, like okay, if there's say the running back fumbles, but his knee was actually down, but we'll
Right.
say a safety picks it up and scores. Okay, give him the 6 points, review the play. His knee was down, take the 6 points back, give it back to the offense. Instead, his knee
Right.
was down and have a ref who, maybe saw his knee was down because you never know with all them, them players around. You never know if he actually saw his knee was down. The
Mm-hmm.
strong safety, he picks up the fumble, has a clear shot to 6. Here's the whistle, stops running halfway there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what if his
That's
knee
true.
wasn't down? What if his knee wasn't down? They would have still blew the
Then
whistle.
you just yeah. Then you just if exactly exactly. Then you stole 6 points from the other. I mean, you scored
You
you stole a
force,
touchdown from the other team.
yeah, you force their offense to go out and play downs, which is not necessary. But anyways, the Cleveland Browns played hard against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but ultimately the Jags ended up scoring at the end because the Browns they had their 2 turnovers, so the Jags won 19-7. But that was a
Mm-hmm.
fun game to watch. I mean, I thought the Jags were gonna blow out the Browns. I really did. I mean, Leonard Fournette, he's been killing it on the ground. He's been injured lately, but
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it was going to be way better. I thought it was going to be a bigger blowout, but it was a good game. It was a good game. And then we had the Cardinals went to Houston and they got beat 31 to 21. The
Ooh,
Cardinals lost to
I
the
watched that
Texans.
one.
Yeah,
I seen
that was
that one.
fun. It was a little I thought it was a little sloppy to be honest. I was
It
watching the game
was.
and I felt like I don't know, it just felt boring altogether to me. Like I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I
To
agree.
me, I get like I know it was a high scoring game. It was 31-21, but still,
31,
so
21.
it is what it is. It is what it is. And then we
I
had
mean, so is it safe to say? Is it safe to say that the Giants are pretty much? I mean, it's safe. It's safe to say the Packers are done. But is it safe to say the
I think so,
Giants are
yeah.
done?
Well, the Giants beat the Chiefs, so I don't know. I mean, what's that? Only 2 wins for them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would think so, yeah. In that division, I would think so, yeah. I would say that the Giants are definitely done. Even though they beat the Chiefs, I still think the Chiefs are still like 95% chance. Last time I checked, to make it to the playoffs. So if they beat a team that is still almost guaranteed to make the playoffs, I think the Giants are done.
Right. Right. I agree.
But yeah, we'll get to that. And then the Rams surprisingly lost to the Vikings, who I think are one of the top 5 teams in the league right now. The Vikings. I know you don't like to hear that being a Packers fan, but that's just the way it is.
And they beat the Redskins 38-30, bro.
Who did?
What'd you say?
Who beat the Redskins 38-30?
Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong game. My bad. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, the
I'm looking
Vikings
at the
beat the
wrong
Ram.
game.
The Rams, the LA Rams went to Minnesota and they lost 7-24. Um, Vikings, they look good. I mean, they're
Yes.
still with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers down, they got a clear shot to win that division. So I think that they see that. I think that they see that they have an easy road. So they're really pulling out all the stops. They're sitting at like 8-1 right now, or 8-2 right now. So that was a fun game. Um,
But speaking of the Packers, they're saying that Aaron Rodgers is on the fast track back. I mean,
well, even if he does come back, the Packers got to win some games. Otherwise, they're not even going to make. Otherwise, they won't make the wild card. So it won't matter when
no,
he comes back.
yeah,
But
Uh-huh.
the Redskins and the Saints had a really close game. I believe the Saints were down 14 points at one point, and they are 17 points, and they came back, and the Saints beat the Redskins 34-31. That was a fun game to watch. Drew Brees, he showed that they are. I think they're a Super Bowl contender team right now. They
Hmm.
coming back against the Redskins, down 17 points. That was nice. And then we were talking about the Chiefs and the Giants earlier. The Giants beat the Chiefs 12-9. Um, it was in overtime, but it never would have been to overtime had the kicker for the Giants not missed a field goal or an extra point. It would have been 10-9 at the end of the game. So it would have never
He
went to
missed it.
overtime. He missed an extra point.
He missed an extra point, man, and it was a perfect kick. That was the thing. It was a perfect kick. If you watch that game and you watch that kick, it was perfectly down the middle. It looked like it actually looked like it went in. I was
Yeah.
me and my buddy was watching that game, and when he kicked the ball, I was like, "Oh man, that's it." But then they said it's short, and I was like, "Man, But if they in the plays leading up to in the drives leading up to that kick, if the offense would have just done what because the coach was trying to gain that last few yards before that because he knew he had that long extra point that he was gonna that long field goal attempt. And if they would have just got those last couple of yards that they were striving for, man, that would have been it. But they couldn't pick it up, man. They struggled hard that game. It was a great game though, but
Both sides struggled.
both
Both
sides, yeah,
sides
most
struggled.
most definitely both
I
sides struggled.
mean, the Chiefs have lost. I think the last four out of their five games. They started 5-0 and they were the best team forever. They were like everybody was looking
Mhm.
hot, but they've slowed down. They've slowed down lately. And then we had
Yeah.
the another how I what I
Hit the
felt
like button,
boring.
people. Hit the like button. Hit the like button.
I,
Let us know you're here.
I felt
I
this
see
was
the
a
live.
boring. I felt it was a boring game, but the Buccaneers beat the Dolphins 30-20. It was a lot like when the Cardinals lost to the Texans. It just seemed boring to me. Even the
A
highlights
lot
were
of
kind of
boring.
boring.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, just a 30-21 average win. And this is what I was talking about. The Buffalo Bills uh went to LA to play the Chargers, okay? And you were talking about how somebody can throw three interceptions in a game.
Mm-hmm.
The Buffalo Bills head coach sat Tyrod Taylor and replaced him with a guy that I don't even know his name, but he threw five interceptions in the first half, and they lost to the Chargers 54-24. Now, given they still scored 24 points, but it's against the Chargers,
Right.
and
They let the Chargers score 50 something points.
not only that, but they just gave him points. Five interceptions. I mean, I don't understand why they even sat Tyrod Taylor. I never. I was so confused by that. And then he turns around and throws five interceptions. There's a replacement. Throws five
Yeah.
interceptions. I don't get it. And then the Broncos are still on a slump. They can't seem to get a grip
And
on staying in the win column. They lost to the Bengals 20 to
somebody
17.
somebody in our live somebody in our live chat said, please don't talk about Denver. And then they saw Shannon also says the Vikings are going to the Super Bowl.
I can kind of see that.
I can see that.
You,
Uh,
you,
I,
you
I can see
I'll put $1 on Vegas on the Vikings going to
it.
Super Bowl. I'll bet right now. I'll put $1 on them. But yeah, the Broncos Denver they can't seem to stay in the win column. They lost to the Bengals 20 to 17. Sloppy game. I don't know. Basically they made what's his name? AJ Green look like a
Superstar.
like a legend. And
I mean, they made that was like they made him look like he should be inducted into the Hall of Fame. He should have a star on the. You know what I'm saying? He should have a star on the walkway, man.
I don't know. Denver just needs to get it together. I thought at the beginning of the season, coming from last season, that they were just going to be the most dominant defense. But everything that I thought in the preseason The only thing that has come true is the Patriots, and that's it. I never thought the Eagles would be 9-1. I never thought the Packers would. I never really expected Aaron Rodgers to get hurt. I didn't ever expect the Vikings after what they got rid of Adrian Peterson
Mm-hmm.
for a rookie, and then the rookie got hurt, but that was after. I never thought that getting rid of AP that they would be 8-2. I never thought Jacksonville would have the best rushing offense and the best defense.
Best defense too, man.
Uh, and the way that the Chiefs started, I never thought that would happen. I
And then
just
Shannon says that Denver needs Kaepernick. No, Green Bay needs Kaepernick. Green Bay needs something that's gonna help them because I mean, as much as I was rooting, go back and look at our old videos when Aaron, I think it was like what, like week 6 maybe, weeks episode 6, episode 5, something like that. When we found out Rogers had got hurt, and I mean, I had more faith in Brett Hundley than Brett Hundley did, and he
yeah,
just,
I
I mean,
remember that.
I think it's too much for him, man. I think it's too much for him.
Uh,
Denver too, man. They need something. They need somebody. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say anymore. I just think everybody, just needs to focus, get it back right, just get back to the drawing board. Let's get out of the, yeah. I mean, but then again, it's been kind of like a haze over this year of football. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, a bunch
um,
of softies.
bunch of softies, a bunch of injuries. It's plagued this season of football. And it just, this hadn't been your normal football season. Have you noticed that too, Rob?
The only thing I've noticed is some teams showing out and other teams just getting injured.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Eagles 9-1, like I said, that's just ridiculous. Who would have thought that after last season? Jacksonville, Jacksonville's killing it. Who'd have thought that after last season?
Mm-hmm.
The only consistent thing that has been happening really the past few years is the Browns losing. Everything else is just fluctuating up and down, and the Patriots winning. The Steelers have had, but the Steelers are keeping it solid too.
Yeah.
But the Saints, they played all right last year, and now they're killing it this year.
Rob, what do you think about that Falcons and Seahawks game? Did you catch that? That was a close
Yeah,
one.
On Monday.
Yeah.
Um, I was going to talk about that. I think the Seahawks. I want to save that for my top 10 because I was going to talk about that.
Okay, go
But
ahead.
I'll get into that later.
Okay.
But then the Patriots, they destroyed the Raiders 33-8. That was expected. I started Derek Carr on my fantasy team because I was expecting him to at least play a little bit better than what he did. I was expecting him to do something. I wasn't expecting an 8-point game. Uh, I just the Patriots are just, man. Tom Brady is ageless. He's playing like he's like 27 or something. Guy's like almost 41 or 40 or whatever his
Mhm.
age is. He's old.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
playing like he's 20 something.
I
I
mean,
just don't get it. But talking about the Patriots, I remember early in the season, and I'll mention this in my top 10. But early in the season, they had the worst defense. They were allowing like something like 35 points per game. Something crazy. And now they're just beating everybody.
ow.
And then speaking of points per game, the Eagles uh, they beat the Cowboys 37-9. And the whole first half, I think the first half ended 10-9. I think maybe 7-9. Either the Cowboys were up by 2 points or the Eagles were up by 1 point. I forget. But that was after the
The
first
Eagles
half. Then
were
they
up.
come
The
out.
Eagles were up. The Eagles were up by halftime.
Yeah, but it wasn't by a lot. It was a really
No,
tight
no.
game. And then it went into the half, and they come out, and Dak Prescott just decides to throw interception after interception and fumble, and the Eagles just take advantage of it.
They did.
And the Cowboys putting all the weight on Dak Prescott has shown their weakness that he can't do it by himself. He needs a running
No.
attack. Even with that great offensive line, he cannot do it by himself. And I don't know what they're gonna do without Ezekiel Elliott. It's gonna be
He's out.
tough.
He's out. He's gone.
Yeah, he's
He's
done.
gone, man.
If they still I think he'll make it for the playoffs, but they got to make the playoffs first. And then obviously Monday night we had the Falcons beat the Seahawks 34-31. Russell Wilson put the team on his back, but could not carry it, carry them the distance. It was it was a fun game to watch. The
It
Falcons, the
was. It was
Falcons,
actually one of the better
the
games.
Falcons surprised me a little bit. I mean, they went up a quick two scores.
Falcons
They
are
were up,
the
they were up
Falcons are
14.
playing. They're playing a good.
Yeah,
Go ahead, man.
they got their two scores early, like real early. That was
Mhm.
I looked at this like I watched the game. I saw the first score, and then I changed the channel for like I don't know less than 10 minutes. I look back, it's 14-0. I go, wow, okay, I got to continue watching this game because if it's gonna be a blowout, I got to see it. And then it turned into Russell Wilson.
Yep.
He brought them back. He had like three total touchdowns. He had a couple rushing touchdowns, a passing touchdown, but just wasn't enough. But yeah, you're right. The Falcons have been playing they've been
They've
playing.
been playing a pretty good season of football.
Well, I wouldn't say a good season. I would say a good second half because the first half they were terrible. Like they were 3-1, but
First
they could
half
have
they were
very easily been 1-3. Like they were just sliding by.
could have. Yes, but I mean they picked it up. They've picked it up the last few weeks, man. I mean, I've
Yeah,
seen some Falcon games from week to week, and Falcons are looking the way some of these other teams should be looking right now, because
right.
that's what you're supposed to see throughout the course of the season. You're supposed to see the team grow, especially when there's new players involved. When there's new players involved, and as many injuries as there that have taken place this season so far, you know, you really could see the Falcons grow and change throughout the season. You know, and some of the and while they're while teams like the Falcons are holding it together and coming together and playing, some other teams are falling apart, handling the stress of not having a certain player, or being faced with a really good defense, or something. They're just not. They're following. They're when pressure comes on, especially like in that Seahawks Falcons and Seahawks game. You know what I'm saying? Like when the pressure gets on, some teams fold. Some teams don't perform. They don't bring it like they should. And that's exactly what's happening with the Falcons. They're just improving, playing good football, man. They're
I
putting on a
agree.
good show for
I
everybody.
agree. I agree. But I still think they got a lot to prove. You know,
Oh yeah,
I still think they got a
most
lot to
definitely.
prove. And that's all for the scores. What you got going?
We got going. Well, we have some pretty interesting topics going on. If you guys had noticed, we've been off for a couple of weeks, but a lot of stuff has happened in the world of MMA in the past couple of weeks, and we're getting ready to talk about it. And I got a couple of things I want to ask Rob too, just some opinionated questions, just to see how we, let you guys see a little bit how we think about stuff. Couple of the latest events that have happened: UFC Sydney. UFC Sydney was probably one of the best fight nights that I've seen in a long time. You usually have like your main UFC 217, UFC 216. Those are like the big pay-per-view events. And then sometimes in between those, to keep us happy, they'll do fight cards, fight nights or whatever. And UFC Fight Night in Sydney, Australia was really, really, really good. I mean, from the early prelims to the main event, it was crazy. Um, I just kind of want to point out a couple of the prelim fights, the earlier fights on that card. Janelle Lawson versus Eric Shelton. Eric Shelton competed on the Ultimate Fighter, so if a lot of people know who he is, that's how I know who he is. That was my first time ever seeing him was on the Ultimate Fighter. Um, and he defeats him. Defeats Janelle Lawson in the flyweight division. Vicious ground and pound, vicious ground and pound, and that's what I mean. It seemed like that night was a night of pure finishes. It was all finishes that night, and well, not all finishes, but some pretty spectacular finishes and some good decisions too. So Eric Shelton puts on a clinic against Janelle Lawson, gets him down, ground and pounds him out. It was just a fantastic bout. Eric Shelton's trying to make a staple in the flyweight division. He's trying to get up. He actually competed in the season where they were trying to. He competed in the season of champions where all these guys were champions that were fighting to get a chance to fight Demetrius Johnson. And of course, we all know Tim Elliott won that season and put on a very good fight against Demetrius Johnson. But of course, he lost. But Eric Shelton is a former champion. He's championship material. He put on a championship display that night in UFC Sydney. He put on, I mean, he fought like a champion. That was a fantastic fight. I believe he should have been the guy. I think Tim Elliott actually beat him in the finale of the Ultimate Fighter to get the fight against. No, he did. He didn't beat him. He beat another guy, but Eric Shelton made it pretty far in that season. So I'm pretty sure we'll see a lot more of Eric Shelton. Remember that name. Also, let's see what else we got. All right, guys. So this fight is really the fight I wanted to talk about, and it received the fight of the night bonus, and that was Damian Brown versus Frank Camacho. That fight was probably the best fight of the night. That fight could have easily been.
Which one?
It was Damian Brown versus Frank Camacho in the lightweight division. That fight could have definitely easily been the main event for that fight because that was probably the best, apart from the Stephan Bonner and who was that? Stephan Bonner and Forrest Griffin
You
fight
think
for the Ultimate Fight.
wasn't it? Didn't that end in like a split decision?
Go ahead. It was a split decision. It was a split decision, but that was probably the best back and forth fight I've ever seen in the UFC since I've been watching the UFC. And I've been watching the UFC now for about 10 years, and that was probably the best fight I've ever seen. I mean, it was just back and forth. I mean, but the thing about that fight was Frank Camacho won the fight, but he missed weight. So he had to give up, I think, like 30% of his money that he was going to win for that fight. So but he ended up winning the fight, and they also ended up winning fight of the night bonus, which is an extra $50,000 a piece, where he wasn't able to receive his $50,000. So because he missed weight. He missed weight by like 3 pounds. So that put him out on that. And so he missed out on a whole lot of money. So that's why I think that's kind of why the UFC, especially MMA and boxing, those kind of sports really emphasize on making weight. Making weight has a lot riding on it. It's not just making the weight, I mean, so you keep your money. Like, let's say like a champion was to miss weight, then it becomes a non-championship fight. You know what I'm saying? Or if the challenger misses weight, it becomes a non-championship fight. They can't really stress the importance any more than what they are of making weight than they do, because that's a huge thing. I mean, Frank Camacho will be $50,000 richer, if he would have made weight.
Right.
What do you think about that, Rob?
I'm actually surprised that guy fight of the night. I was thinking the heavyweight fight at the end would have got it.
That's what I was going to talk about next. Was that was Fabricio Verdun versus
Isn't he?
Marcin.
Isn't he the number ranked number 2 heavyweight?
Fabricio Verdun?
Yeah.
Yes, he's the former champion. So yeah, he's definitely a top 5. He's definitely a top 5 heavyweight. But the thing with Marcin Tybura was Verdun stepped in for that fight. Someone was pulled out of that fight. I can't remember exactly who it was. But he was undefeated, and every fight that he's fought in the UFC, in his professional mixed martial arts career, has been first round knockouts. So I'm pretty sure he waltzed into the octagon thinking he was going to get another first round knockout on Fabricio Verdun. but I don't think he realized who he was stepping into the cage with when he stepped in with Fabricio. Fabricio Verdum is a very dangerous heavyweight. In heavyweight fights, usually you don't really see heavyweight fights lasting 5 rounds, but this was a 5 round war in the heavyweight division. So Stipe Miocic better be looking out because these guys, I mean, and Fabricio Verdum like I said, it was a war. Fabricio Verdum got the split decision win.
Yeah.
It was a great fight. Even though Tiberio landed a lot of head kicks, he landed a lot of head kicks that would have knocked a lot of people out. But Fabricio was able to weather the storm. He was able to stay with it, to use his stand-up game, to get the best out of him, wore him down a lot. That guy wasn't used to fighting 5 rounds. He's had all first round knockouts. So, it was kind of reminiscent of a Ronda Rousey fight in a way, when she fought people like when she fought Holly Holm out part of it. But Ronda really wasn't used to going 5 rounds. And when you drag somebody who's not used to doing that, when you drag them into deep water like that, I mean, that puts them in a territory that they're not used to being in. So everyone thought Fabricio Verdum was going to get ran over in this fight, and he didn't. He let it be known, hey, dude, you're fighting the top 5 heavyweight here. You're not fighting one of these slouches. You're fighting me. Former champion. Hello, and that was
It
a
was a
heck of a
lot like
fight, man.
wasn't it Misha Tate that survived like the first round of Ronda Rousey? She was the first woman to take it to the second
Yeah,
round or
yeah,
something.
yeah. Misha Tate made it to the first time they fought in Strike Force, it was a first round submission. So she was out the first round in that one, but the
Yeah, but
second
in the
fight was a three
UFC,
round.
wasn't she the first girl to survive the
Yeah,
first round?
she went three
That's what
rounds. She went 3 rounds in the UFC with Ronda Rousey.
that's what I
hmm
thought.
3 hard fought rounds.
Yeah, I remember that. They
So
were they were both they were both bleeding.
yeah, that was a tough one. That was
They
definitely
were
you.
both bleeding.
You could probably guess I was screaming my head off during that fight.
Yeah, I
But
could see
all
it.
right, so just moving on to some more current news. Oh boy. So Holly Holm accepts the fight with Chris Cyborg.
Cyborg's gonna beat that ass.
I think Cyborg might beat that ass, but this is why I don't like this fight, man. Like, okay, I like this fight, but I don't like this fight. This is why I like this fight, because finally somebody is stepping up to fight Chris Cyborg. Okay, these girls. I mean, come on. I mean, finally somebody's stepping up to fight Chris Cyborg. But this is the thing, though. I understand Chris Cyborg is the champion and she wants to fight. Yada 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 yada. Play my violin. Da, da, da. Okay, she wants to fight so bad, so bad, so bad. But I don't think that there's been enough time put into this featherweight division. I don't know how many times I have to keep saying this. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you got Megan Anderson signed to the UFC. Megan Anderson, the former Invicta featherweight champion. See Holly versus Megan for the number one contender. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, why not make that fight instead of making versus Cyborg?
I
Holly's lost 3 out of her last
it's
4.
probably it's probably because Holly was already a known name. Megan isn't a known name in the UFC.
No, she's not.
So you got to go with what sells tickets. What if
But
people
the
don't
people,
watch the Force, all right? And they only watch UFC. They won't know anything
if
about
they don't
Megan
watch what?
Anderson. Strike Force.
Invicta. She was the Invicta champ.
Invicta. Yeah, that's what I meant. I don't know why I said
Okay.
Strike Force. You said Strike Force earlier. But I'm saying,
Yeah.
what if they don't watch that? They only watch the UFC. Okay?
Okay.
You get somebody that just signs with them. You want to give them the shot? You want to give them a shot at the number one contender? Or do you want to give
Well,
somebody that is known for taking down the tyrant, Holly Holm, the shot at the title?
okay, and I understand what you're saying because I was asking myself that same question. There is really no what if because people know who Megan Anderson is, and people know who Megan Anderson is because before Chris Cyborg just recently, a year and a half ago, she had never been in the UFC, but she was so well known from other organizations like Strikeforce and Invicta and stuff like that. So, was and the thing, and I think people knew who Megan Anderson was because when Cyborg had to relinquish her Invicta title, there had to be a fight for that belt, and it was Charmaine Tweet versus Megan Anderson, and Megan Anderson won that bout. So that's why I'm saying, people knew who Megan Anderson was, and when they booked Megan Anderson for the fight the first time, that fight had so much hype around it, Rob. It has so much hype around that fight. Megan, okay, because we were getting ready, besides the girls that Cyborg fought in Invicta, we were, UFC is a higher level of competition than Invicta. So the two of the best featherweights in the world, women featherweights, go at it. And that fight was so hyped up until Megan pulled out. So why if Megan can draw viewers. Okay. People like Megan for some reason. She's got the look, she's got the tattoos, she's got the skill, she knocks girls the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? So Megan, I'm thinking that it should have been, and on the flip side of that with Holly has lost 3 out of the last 4 fights, 2 of which have been title fight. I mean, 2 of which of those fights have been a title fight when she fought Jermaine Durandame for the featherweight title and lost. She lost to Miesha Tate. So yeah, 2 of those were title fights. She lost the bantamweight title to Miesha. She lost the featherweight opportunity to Jermaine Durandame, and she lost against Valentina Shevchenko. And then she won against Bethe Correia, but Bethe Correia is not really. I mean, it's Bethe Correia. I mean, you don't
I'm
have to
still
be
I'm
a rocket
still
scientist.
I'm still so hyped that Thug Rose won.
I'm hyped about that too. I'm gonna get to that, but let me finish making my point. I just really think that they should have, instead of just keep pushing Holly to these championship fights, I really think they should. I mean, there's a bunch of featherweights waiting to jump into the UFC, and I don't know why they're not signing them. Got Cindy
Think about
Dandua.
this. What if Holly Holm beats Cyborg? Who should
What if
which one of the two should Megan fight?
Holly beats Megan? I mean, if Holly beats Cyborg, then I think it should be Megan versus Holly for the title. But I
But
mean, because
why? Has she proven herself in the UFC?
no, she hadn't fought. She hadn't fought in the UFC.
Exactly.
Her chance to fight in the UFC was against Cyborg, and she pulled out
Exactly. So why should they, if she pulled out of a fight, why should they give her the main card? We gave you the shot,
because
but you wanted to back out. Okay, fine. We'll just put you to the side for a minute. That's how it goes in the business world.
I think because Megan is one of the top featherweights in the world. She's one of the top.
Yeah, but do you see
I
from
mean,
a
she's
business
earned
point
that
of
spot
view, we can't give you an opportunity and then you say no thank you and then
again.
expect another opportunity.
That's true. That being my point. That's why it should be. That's why Cyborg should continue on her little break right now, the first of the year. Continue on her little break, and then it should have been Megan versus Holly for number
Well,
one
okay, how about
contender
this? When was the last time
for the
Holly
title
Holmes
shot.
said no?
Go to this fight until they decide to pair.
No, she said no to the money. She didn't say no to the fight.
Yes, she
That's
said no to
different.
the money.
That's different.
I don't think Holly's ever said no,
Exactly. Now think
and
about
I
it from a
think that may be
business
the
point of
point.
view. Think about it from like you're managing a business. Who are
True.
you going to take? Somebody that will do the work, somebody that goes and shows up there, or somebody that just you give them the opportunity and they say no. I mean, come on.
That's true.
UFC is a
But you also
business.
have UFC is a business, but you have to think you got all these other featherweights, that all these other girls who are chomping at the bit to get in there. Leah Letson being one of them, Cindy Dandua being another one of them, Julia Budd being another one. I mean, Elizabeth Phillips being
Yeah,
another one.
they
I mean,
all
you got
want to get
all
in, but okay. So who is the best of all of them? Now, if Megan wasn't in the UFC, who would be the best
I
of
don't,
all of them?
Say that one more time.
If Megan wasn't in the UFC, who would be the best of all those girls trying to get in?
Megan Anderson.
Okay, exactly. She's already in, but she blew one opportunity, so she has to prove herself again. Like she already like they saw her skills, they gave her the opportunity, she didn't take it. She now has to reassert herself to get that opportunity back. They can't just hand it to her just because she's there. Just because there's people that want to get there doesn't mean that she automatically gets that chance again. She blew it. She backed
True.
out. She was
She blew it.
afraid. She was afraid or something
But
or
there,
whatever it
but there are
was.
no other featherweights. There are no other featherweights.
Doesn't matter.
The only featherweights right now that's is Chris Cyborg and Megan Anderson. That's
I know, but
it.
that's why I'm just trying to say why the fight was between Holly Holm and Cyborg. I'm not talking that
Oh
she's
yeah,
not
yeah,
there. I'm just saying that's
yeah,
why the fight makes sense between Holly
yeah,
Holm and Cyborg
yeah.
because Megan Anderson blew her opportunity. They saw her skills and
She
were like,
did.
"Okay, we're going to give you the fight." No, thank you. Okay, fine. We'll get somebody that actually will fight.
That's probably
But
exactly what happened.
I think if Holly Holm beats her, Megan Anderson needs to fight Cyborg. I don't think she deserves a title shot right out the gate.
You think that so you believe that Megan should fight you believe that Megan should fight Holly. I mean, you think that if Holly wins, do you think Megan should fight Cyborg for a title shot?
No. Yeah, for a for the number one contender. And then she'll fight Holly next. But if
Okay.
Cyborg
Okay.
wins, Megan Anderson needs to fight Holly Holm.
But that's the thing though. That's the thing. Is can Cyborg beat somebody like Holly Holm?
Yes.
You got
Two
to
rounds.
think.
2 rounds.
I mean, hold on. You got to think. Strength does not make matchups. Styles make match. I've been preaching this.
Okay.
Styles
I
make
know Styles make
matchups.
matchups. But what's her weakness?
Say what?
Cyborg's weakness. What is it?
The ground.
Okay, then who was
The
the
both of their weaknesses the
well,
ground.
yeah,
The
that's
both of
true.
their weaknesses is the ground.
That's true. That's true. Okay, but think about it this way.
Cyborg.
Who has Holly beaten that excluding um Ronda Rousey, who has she beaten that is that physical? Nobody.
Well, in her boxing days, yeah, but you can't really count
Boxing don't
that.
count. We're in the UFC.
She.
That don't count. In the UFC,
I
excluding
don't
Ronda
think she.
Rousey, who is as physical as Ronda and Cyborg that Holly has beaten? Nobody. So are you really gonna put your money on Holly a second time against a beast? Just like, oh, she did to Ronda. Why can't she do it to Cyborg? There's gonna be people that say that and do that. But come on. Who can get struck by lightning twice?
You know. You know. That's the thing with this fight. Like, this is the kind of fight that um you can't really predict this type of fight. Like, this is not the type of fight that you can
I
really
can.
break down. I don't think so,
I
Rob. I
can.
don't think this is a fight like this.
You
This is
you gonna be mad when I turn out to be right, ain't you? Again.
because I don't think I'm not going to listen to what you're saying.
I'm gonna text you, so you have to listen. I'll text it to you. I'll email it to you, so you have to read it and see what it is.
I don't know, man. This is this with me seeing the way both of these women fight. You know, this is just a style matchup that I'm just going to have to see happen.
This
You know,
okay. The main
because let me finish because Cyborg can crack. We all know Cyborg can crack, but Holly can crack too. If Holly, but Holly has this really bad thing where she gets her opponent gets in her head and she gets all timid. If she doesn't do that, and she commits to everything instead of under committing, she can crack Cyborg. And you know, and if she cracks Cyborg, whew, I feel bad for Cyborg, man, because Holly's going to be able to stop. Holly is going to be able to stop and make Cyborg think. And if Holly's able to make Cyborg stop and think, and then that leg kick, that head kick's gonna come out of nowhere, and it's gonna be over.
This is why I think Cyborg will beat the brakes off of Holly Holm because no
Okay.
matter who Cyborg has fought, it hasn't been so much about the head games and oh, Cyborg's just gonna beat me. The reason that I think Cyborg is so good right now and has been lately is because she's the best at adapting. She can adapt mid fight. She can adapt in the training before the fight. Hell, she adapts after the fight. Based on her
Mm-hmm.
comments and what she said. She does that better than anybody right now. That was like Ronda Rousey was kind of good at it, but she kind of just was a one way ticket. Like
Yeah.
she was always trying to submit people. She was just
Right.
she was just stronger than all the girls at the time.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But Holly Holm, she hasn't shown any adaptivity. She doesn't adapt to much in her
No, she
fights.
doesn't.
That's why she loses so often.
Right. That's true,
So
man. That's a good point.
I think Cyborg is gonna beat the brakes off of Holly Holm in the second round.
Yeah, because Holly has a bad tendency to when she starts to feel pressure from someone, she has a real bad tendency to walk backwards. And that's like the worst thing you can do against Cyborg stylistically because she's gonna cut that out the gun off, and Holly knows that she doesn't want to clinch up with Cyborg because if she clinches up against the cage with Cyborg, even though Holly's a big, like when Holly fights at featherweight, Holly's a big girl. She was a little big for bantamweight. Holly Holm's a big girl. And she's a little big for bantamweight. So if she's a big featherweight, and if I don't think that Cyborg is going to be able to muscle Holly down as easily as she's been able to muscle girls down in the past. But I think that if Holly can avoid the clinch, keep the forward pressure coming, and not let Cyborg cut off the cage, then that she has a really good chance to win this fight. But if Holly gets in there and gets scared and gets timid, but she's gonna lose because Cyborg's like a pit bull. Cyborg's like a shark in water who smells blood. Once she smells that blood, she tears you to pieces. Like when she fought Lena Landsberg, everybody was kind of hype at Lena Landsberg because she's a Muay Thai champion, and her Cyborg completely neutralized Lena Landsberg's Muay Thai. I don't even think Lena Landsberg landed one punch within 2 rounds. She didn't land not one punch on Cyborg. I mean, she just neutralized everything that Lena Landsberg tried to throw at her. But we'll see. We'll see how this featherweight division pans out. I mean, hopefully, Dana White gets these girls in there. We can see some featherweight fights, man. Because to be honest with you, these bantamweight fights are starting to become a little boring. I'm ready to see some featherweights. The flyweight division is doing very well, the 125-pound division, so I'm excited about that. With the Ultimate Fighter coming up on the close, that's going to be really, really, really good. But to move on to the next topic, guys, we spent a little bit more time on that one than I thought.
You gotta tell me about what's going on with this ranking thing that's going on. What's this thing that I've been reading
Oh,
about?
bro. So let me get his name. I have to get his name exactly because I want to quote him exactly for what he's saying. Um, let's see. What is his name? I know his last name is Mullen. Mark Wayne Mullen. He is a U.S. congressman, and there's something called a Muhammad Ali Act that's going on that goes on in these type of sports. And what this whole meeting was about was to pretty much call out the UFC and Bellator on what they're doing wrong, and if they should implement the Muhammad Ali Act. So there's a lot that they were criticizing the UFC executive Ratner. His name is Ratner, last name Ratner. What he was, they were really scrutinizing him
Hmm.
on the way that the UFC does their rankings, and saying that it's not really the way that it should be. And let's see. He says, this is what he said. Um, Mullen said, if the UFC is considered a professional sport, then it should be on a merit-based ranking system, not a recreational-based ranking system. When the fans know that the number one contender actually has a shot at the title, because we haven't seen that at 185-pound division. How did Dan Henderson, that he likes Dan Henderson, this is not a knock on Dan Henderson, but he said, how did Dan Henderson, not even being in the top 10, get a title shot to fight Michael Bisping on his last fight? So he was like, he's not even in the top 10. So what about the number 8, number 9, number 9, number 8, number 7, number 6? What about all these guys? Did all these guys turn down the fight, or did you just skip all these guys and let Dan Henderson go up and fight him? Which that's exactly what happened. And Ratner goes on and says, when Dan Henderson fought Michael Bisping, it was a natural rematch from a fight 4 or 5 years ago. And then Mullen goes on and says, but then it even wasn't a title shot, but yet it was for a title shot. That means that the world championship belt that the UFC has isn't really a world championship belt. It's really what Lawrence Epstein personally told me. It's simply an award that they bestow on the best fighter that night. On every professional athlete. How did GSP get a fight for the title when he hasn't fought in 4 years, much less at 185 pounds, where he never fought for
Yeah,
the belt?
yeah, yeah.
Ratner goes, Ratner goes, St. Pierre hasn't fought in 4 years. You're absolutely right. Mullen goes on to say, so how did he get a title shot? St. Pierre was and then Ratner said St. Pierre was a former champion, a former pound for pound best fighter in the world, according to Our. And then Mullen cuts him off and says, so he still didn't fight for a title. He fought for an award bestowed upon the best fighter of the night. I'm wrapping up, Mr. Chairman. I'm wrapping up, Mr. Chairman. When you say boxers are treated like MMA fighters, clarify that statement that you're talking about the health of the fighter, but not the professional ranking system, and not about the financial disclosures, because there are distinct differences. And the Ali Act is the backstop to boxers. There is no backstop for MMA fighters. It's take it or leave it. And that's why I say the UFC has become the Don King of MMA. Wow. That was a bold statement. Very, very bold statement. And I can't believe that someone actually had the guts to say that to someone in, I mean, because to those guys, these people that we see in the higher ups in the UFC aren't really anybody to them. You know what I'm saying? These guys have a job to do. They have something that they need to talk about, and they just called him out, put him on blast. Man, I can't believe that. I was actually kind of happy because that is true, man. You do see a lot of people. You do have, sometimes you have a champion, and then you have the top 5 people. All 5 of them can be coming off of fresh wins, but you have a number 8 seed person jump up and fight the number one, fight the champion. Just like when Cody Garbrandt got the fight against Dominic Cruz. Cody Garbrandt wasn't number 1. He was like number 6, number 7. And he got the title shot over somebody like TJ Dillashaw or, Jimmy Rivera, somebody that was in the top 5. So, I mean, give me your thoughts on that, Rob.
I think the UFC is kind of getting to be like the WWE.
If you ask me,
I mean, WWE is fake; it's entertainment. The UFC is not. That's not what that Fighting's all real, but as far as the
right.
drama, the title swapping, the title shots, it's getting to be a little bit like the WWE.
Yeah, man.
Kind
It
of,
sure
kind
is.
of. Whoever is trending on Twitter gets a shot, or something like
Mhm.
that,
Yep. And it
rather than
took
whoever
somebody like
is.
a U. It's really sad when it takes somebody like a U.S. congressman to call the UFC out. I mean, they should be listening more to their fans, because their fans have been saying this stuff for years. I mean, really, the fans have been saying this stuff for years, man. They don't listen to the fans. So maybe we'll see a change in how the ranking system works. You think they'll change, Rob?
I don't think so. I don't think unless there's some legal action taken, If there's no legal action taken, I think it's just gonna stick to this road because ultimately they make a ton of money,
They
and
make a ton of money.
until they see that they could possibly make more money doing it a different way, they're not gonna change. And I don't know if they're stable enough, the UFC as a whole, if it's stable enough to revert to, boxing methods. You know,
Right.
number one is champion. Number two gets the fight. People don't just come back from retirement and fight people.
Exactly.
I
That's why
mean,
when I heard it was GSP. Now, if it had been, now I understand if it had been GSP versus Tyron Woodley, and I'd have been like, okay, I mean, GSP dominated this division for years, and he never officially retired. He kind of gave up his belt,
right.
and now Tyron Woodley's the champion, and GSP GSP deserves that other title. He deserves a title shot when he comes back, just like
Yeah,
Jose
yeah,
Aldo
but
got the title shot.
the thing about Woodley was he wanted to fight GSP. He was calling him out. Like I think like sometime last year, I think I remember him saying he didn't call out GSP directly,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember him saying something about GSP.
Yeah, and a lot of people have said, and my opinion as well, is that is that GSP took the easier road out. He knew he could beat Michael Bisping. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't want to come back. And he wanted the glory of coming back after 4 years and getting a win. And I think that he knew that if he would have stepped into stepped into the octagon with Tyron Woodley, it would have been a whole different story than stepping in with Michael Bisping. I think because Michael Bisping's older, he's coming toward the end of he's been throwing around the word retirement for a while. And we all know that in the UFC, once we hear you say the word retirement, we know it's only coming very, very soon.
I think
Like we heard.
Bisping is and was and has been an overrated champion, an overrated fighter.
I don't think he's an overrated fighter. I think he's an overrated champion. I think he's an overrated champion, but he did beat Luke Rockhold. I mean, he beat him fair and square. And so we can't take anything away from him for that because he beat Luke Rockhold fair and square. But speaking of Michael Bisping, 3 weeks after losing to GSP, he takes the fight with Kelvin Gastelum. So he's got a fight coming up in like a week.
He's trying to get that money, man.
I mean, that I think that what Michael Bisping wants to do, I think it's one of two things. I think he does because this one is going to be in China, so I think he didn't want to retire in China. This fight's coming up. I think it's either he wants to retire in America, so he's going to wait on a fight in America, or he wants to retire the champion. So I think that's probably one of those two reasons is probably why he took this fight so quick, and they cleared him. Usually when you fight, you're automatically on like a 6 month suspension, so they automatically cleared him. I guess because he didn't really suffer any real damage
It
between
almost
him and GSP.
when something like that happened, it almost makes you wonder, was it set up?
Yeah, it does. It does actually. That it was kind of odd that they cleared him so quick. Just days after he fought GSP, they cleared him to take this fight with Kelvin Gastelum. So I just think that was awful strange. But he took the fight. Somebody pulled out. He's taking the fight. And hopefully, if he wins this fight, it'll put him back. It'll throw him right back into title contention. So hopefully, he wins that. I mean, for GSP's sake, he wins that. I mean, for Michael Bisping's sake, he wins that fight. So, um, Tyron Woodley, on the other hand, there's been circling that the December 30th card with the same card that's got Holly Holm and Chris Cyborg on it is saying that it's going to be Tyron Woodley versus Nate Diaz. But now this is what we've been hearing. This is just some of the hottest topics, latest news in the MMA world is that Nate Diaz said, hell no. And I see why Nate Diaz would say hell no. because this fight doesn't really make sense for Nate Diaz. You know what I'm saying? Like Nate Diaz is anticipating this Conor McGregor paycheck. I don't
Right.
think Nate Diaz really wants the Tyron Woodley paycheck, even though he's one of my favorites. But we try not to be biased here at Sports Scrutiny. But I think that Tyron Woodley doesn't pull quite like Conor McGregor does,
No.
not yet at least.
Conor McGregor, if you lose to Conor, you probably make 700, 600,000 in the UFC maybe.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
lose if you lose to Tyron Woodley, which I don't think that would happen if Nate Diaz was to fight him. I think Nate Diaz would beat Tyron Woodley. But
Ooh,
if that was to
ooh,
happen, even if he lost to Tyron Woodley, he'd only make 200, 300 grand maybe.
probably.
So
But but that's why I think he's and he has a strong possibility of losing that fight. A very strong possibility of losing that fight. So that's, I mean, and they were talking about the odds of that fight, and I think Nate Diaz knows. These are two of my favorite guys. I mean, Nate Diaz and Tyron Woodley, and
I
Tyron,
don't. I
and
honestly don't think that Nate Diaz would have a hard time against Woodley. Woodley likes to make his move. He's he seems to me like too much of a counter fighter,
he
and
waits. He waits
that's a
on us.
lot. That's a lot like Conor McGregor. Early in the fight, they like to counter. They like to counter punch. They like to counter attack. And Nate Diaz, the first time he fought Conor McGregor, showed that he could handle that. Showed that he could take the hits. He could make the hits too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think fighting Woodley the first time, I don't think that that would be too much trouble for him. Especially
So do
since
you
Nate
think?
Diaz fought. Go ahead.
But do you think getting punched by Conor McGregor and getting punched by Tyron Woodley is the same?
Yeah. I think getting punched by any of those guys that aren't in the heavyweight is probably about the same.
Oof, oof. Well,
What about
I don't think
because
Nate Diaz is. I really don't think Nate Diaz is scared of Tyron Woodley. I think that Nate Diaz is waiting on that Conor McGregor fight.
yeah, I
I
don't think
think
he cares about holding titles. The Diaz brothers or cousins or whatever they are, they never cared about that. The only thing they cared about was just fighting.
fighting. Yep, those boys
It's the
want to
only thing they
fight.
wanted,
That's it.
fighting and money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see when they win, he didn't care. He didn't
No, he
change the way
didn't.
he talked. He didn't change the way
No, he
he
didn't.
acted. He still showed nobody any type of respect unless they earned it.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, when they actually earned it, he barely showed any type of respect. So they don't care. They don't care. Especially Nate Diaz. I
No,
think Nate Diaz might be a little bit worse. Nate Diaz, I think, is probably the worst of the two.
you see, you think what?
I think Nate Diaz might be the worst of the two brothers or cousins or whatever they are,
Brothers.
brothers. He just, I see him in like press conferences. He don't care. He'll stand up and say
No,
whatever. I see him.
he's
He'll
not
what?
good. He's not good on the mic. I can tell you that.
Hell no. He don't
That
give
he's
a
not good
shit,
on the mic.
and he knows it. So he just says, you know, whatever. Goodbye. So I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah,
it's has anything at all to do with losing. Because you remember when he fought Connor, Dana just called him up. I think it was like 3 weeks before that. Hey, dude, back out.
yep,
We need you. Okay, fine. Go in there. Took out the champion.
yep.
I don't think
And
he's
they fought at
nothing.
welterweight. They fought at. That's the thing. Like they fought at welterweight. Neither one of them truly made welterweight though. They were like 168 and 169. I think Connor was like 168 or 167. And the weight is 170, so they were both underweight. I don't think they really count that as missing weight. I think they only count missing weight is you're overweight.
Yeah.
But Tyron Woodley was like they had the Connor and Nate had a fake welterweight fight because neither one of them was really welterweight. But because and the reason he said that was because Nate Diaz um, said something about the weight, about making that weight that quick, putting on that kind of weight. Because Diaz fights at 155,
Right.
and to have to put on 15 pounds or try to put on 15 pounds
Yeah,
of
in like
muscle.
3 or 4 weeks, all he had.
Yeah, trying to put on 3 or 4, 15 pounds of muscle in a couple of weeks. It's gonna be pretty hard. So he's like, I need time to make that weight, and I need money to make that weight too, and I
But
need money to get in there and fight somebody like
like
Tyron Woodley.
like I was saying earlier about getting hit by um there's tough guys and then there's technical guys.
Mm-hmm.
Tough guys are like the Diaz brothers. They're tough. They hit to a certain limit. Like they have a
Yes.
limit. They have a limit to their strength because they're like farmers. They've only known that type of strength their whole life. You got people like McGregor, Woodley, um who's that dude that fought in Sydney? Forget that dude's name already. They got the fight of the night.
Fabricio Verdum,
No, the fight of
Damian Brown.
yeah. He's real technical. Those type of guys, they can just depending on how
Yes.
technical or how fast they react, will seem like they're hitting a ton harder
Mm-hmm.
because the reaction and how technical they
Mm-hmm.
are when they throw their punch. Because if you hit somebody and they don't expect it, they'll be knocked out. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
get a good hit, like just look back at McGregor and Aldo. He did not even think that McGregor was throwing a punch there. You could tell because he hit McGregor
Right.
square too. But you could tell McGregor
Right.
was expecting it, Aldo wasn't. So punches like that seem like they hit a lot harder. So it makes people that are real technical and real reactive seem a whole lot stronger than really what they are. I mean,
Right.
I'm not saying
Right.
I'm
A
not
technical hit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the people like that, they don't have really a limit to their strength because they find the openings and they find the weaknesses and they take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like, I mean, if you hit somebody in their weak spot, you're going to do more damage than if you just constantly hit somebody when they know they're getting hit. You know what I mean?
And actually, speaking of Damian Brown, we might have an interview with Damian Brown coming up soon. So you guys most definitely stay tuned for that. I spoke with him about 2 days ago after that huge fight that they had, and definitely offered him, asked him to come do an interview with us, and he accepted. So
Offered
we
him.
might have an interview coming up
We're
with
big.
Damian
We're big
Brown.
time now. We're big time
Oh
now.
yeah,
We
oh
offer
yeah,
the interviews.
oh yeah. But yeah, he straight up was like, yeah, man, I'll do it. So we got that coming up. A couple more little topics before we go. Um,
We got to get back into our top 10. Did you finish your top 10 this week?
I did not, man. I did not get a chance to finish my top 10 this week, but I will have my top 10 for next week. Most definitely ready. I wasn't able to get it this week, but I'm curious to see what you're gonna talk about, though, Rob. I'm really serious to see what your top 10 are.
Well, my top 10 is kind of a basic,
Uh oh.
run of the mill. Nothing too, nothing too special. Let's see. We're gonna start at number 10. Um, Number 10, we got the Kansas City Chiefs. They're sitting at 6-4, and even though they've lost, 4 of their last 5, um, they still are favored to make the playoffs. I think it's like a 96% to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And really, as of late, that's that's really the only thing that I got going for them right now. I mean, it says a lot about what other teams are doing. I mean, yeah, we were talking about the Falcons earlier, but I still can't get behind them. I just
Why not, man? Might as well.
because
Everybody else is. Why don't you jump on the bandwagon, Rob?
they're just so
Aren't you a
overrated.
bandwagon?
I still think the Atlanta Falcons are the team that lost the Super Bowl. See, there's like I said a few shows ago, it's a huge difference between being the team that makes the Super Bowl and the team that loses the Super Bowl. Okay, a lot of people like the Steelers were really good at doing this. They could lose the Super Bowl and still make it back the next year.
Mm-hmm.
They always played as the team that makes the Super Bowl. The Steelers were always had that mindset. And I'm not saying that it's one person's fault. It's not coaching's fault. But the fact that they did lose their offensive coordinator, the Atlanta Falcons lost their offensive coordinator, made a big impact in the middle of their season. They were
Was
they were
that the
like,
guy? Was that the guy that did the perverted stuff? Was that him?
I don't, I don't, I don't think so.
That wasn't him. What
I don't
team
know.
was it that the offensive coordinator got fired because he did some? Oh, the one that was on camera snorting cocaine. Was that him?
No, that was, I think that was Miami.
Yeah, that was Miami. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, my bad. Go ahead, man.
But yeah, that was the reason I mentioned the Falcons is because it was a debate between them and the Chiefs on who was going to be number 10. And I put the Falcons at number 11 if there was going to be, top 11. But this is top 10, and Kansas City Chiefs are number 10, sitting at 6-4, still a favorite to make the playoffs. And then number 9, we got the Seattle Seahawks. Even though they lost to the Atlanta Falcons, purely based on Russell Wilson's gameplay. And the Seahawks are 6-4. They have a ton of injuries. And one of the matchups that I was really hoping to see was Richard Sherman versus Julio Jones. But unfortunately, Richard Sherman got injured a few weeks ago, and he was getting surgery this past week.
Mm-hmm.
So he was unable to play. But I believe with Aaron Rodgers being injured, we need another golden boy. And that's what Russell
We
Wilson
do.
is. That's what Russell Wilson is to the Seattle Seahawks. Because if not for the great play of Russell Wilson, the Seattle Seahawks will not be where they are. Their defense is lacking. They allow so many points scored against them. They're slow. Yeah, in my opinion, they're just overall as a team they're slow. But Russell Wilson is playing great. So the Seattle Seahawks, I got them at number 9, sitting at 6-4. And then in 8, I got the Carolina Panthers. They're 7-3. Two
Oof.
out of three. Now, the reason I got them at 8 is 2 out of their 3 losses have been to teams that one of the like 2 out of the 3 teams. One of the teams is 9-1, which was the Eagles, and then the other loss is to an 8-2 team.
Mm-hmm.
And the Carolina Panthers, having rushed over 200 yards in back-to-back games, if they can keep that up, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to keep that pace because that's a tough pace to keep. 200 rushing yards
Yes, it
back to
is.
back to back to back.
Yes, it
But if
is.
they can continue the rushing attack, first of all, they could take over, the best rushing offense, which is held by the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'll get to that later. But if they can keep up their rushing attack, then it's just going to open up the passing attack. So I got them at number 8.
That's a good number 8.
And then number 7, I was really debating between 6 and 7 because uh, I'm not fully behind either of the teams. But number 7, I got the LA Rams, the Los Angeles Rams. They're sitting at 7-3, even though they got blown out. Um, they got blown out. Who'd they lose to? Forget. Oh, the Vikings. Even though they got blown out by the Vikings, I still believe that the LA Rams got one of the hottest offenses. I mean, they got top 10 in offense and defense right now. So it's kind of hard to argue about not putting them into your top 10 if as a team and a whole, a whole team, they're top 10 in almost all statistics. So the LA Rams, I got them at 7. And then it was a debate between putting the LA Rams 6 or the LA Rams 7. I got the New Orleans Saints at 6. They're sitting at 8-2, and they got 8 straight wins. So they started the season 0-2.
8. Ocho.
Yeah, they got 8 straight wins. So they started the season 0-2, then they just went on a tear. 8 wins, and backing those 8 wins, they have 15 total rushing touchdowns in those 8 wins. Now, my thing is the reason that I got them so low. I mean, I got them 6.
Uh-oh.
Some people I read some people's
Uh-oh.
top 10. Some people I got them in their top 5. I didn't want to put them in my top 5, and the reason is that because they got Drew Brees. Okay.
Okay.
Now, Drew Brees has been arguably the most efficient passing quarterback in the game the past few years. So that is a team that has known passing for so many years, and then all of a sudden they're just rushing and rushing and rushing. Now, don't get it wrong, the rushing game has not won them all 8 of those games. They just have 15 rushing touchdowns in those 8 games, which is a lot. That's almost two rushing touchdowns in per game. But the reason for that is 6 of those rushing touchdowns were in one game. Okay, so take away that one game, and they only got 9. They got 9 touchdowns in 7 games, which is still a lot. It's a rushing touchdown per game. But when you got somebody like Drew Brees, who has thrown for 40 touchdowns, thrown for 44 touchdowns, throws for 35 touchdowns in seasons, throws for 5,000, almost 6,000 yards. Actually, I don't know if he got to almost 6,000. I don't know. I don't keep track of records. But when you got somebody like that, and then all of a sudden you're just switching to rush to a running offense, it's tough. Plus, a lot of a lot of the games that they've played have been, they've had some really good defensive blowouts. Like their defense has really shown up for them in a couple games. Like there was a few games where if not for their defense, I think one game they had 3 picks and 2 of them were pick six. If not for games like that, they wouldn't even be 8-2. So I got them at number 6. And then number 5, again, this was a tough call between 5 and 4.
Cinco.
It was a tough call between the two teams at 4 and 5. But number 5, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers sitting at 8-2.
That's a good
And
number 5. That's a good one.
a lot of top 10s that I've seen, they had the Steelers number 2. And I can see how people could put them at number 2 with the offense and the defense, the way that they're playing. But I got them at number 5 this coming week. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, having held their opponents to 17 points or less in the 5 straight games. So in the past 5 weeks, nobody has scored more than 17 points against them. And then we got Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, both leading their respective categories. Pretty sure Le'Veon Bell took over the leading rushing yards, and Antonio Brown obviously is killing it again for the second year at the wide receiver position. But Ben is still making mistakes. He's playing sloppy. He's playing lazy, and honestly, I don't like him. I mean, it's not.
Typical Big Ben. That's
Yeah,
typical Big Ben.
It's not about favorites at this. I just don't like. Yeah, he's gonna be their quarterback basically. They don't have a backup. Ben has to be the quarterback. But I don't like how he. I don't like how he plays. He plays so. Like, I don't know. It's like people that live in Pittsburgh that watch the Pittsburgh Steelers gotta be bald because he's so stressful to watch. I'm telling you. Like they just watch their games and their hair just falls out of their head.
It must be, man, because you never know what he's gonna do from week
You
to
never
week,
know
man.
what is it. Some weeks, like 1 week, he threw 5 interceptions. The next week, he throws 3 touchdowns. The next week, he throws 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. The next week, he throws
Yeah.
four touchdowns. The next week, he fumbles twice, 2 turnovers. The next week, he throws a touchdown, 300 yards. It's like, I don't know. And then just last week was in fantasy the first week that he broke out and scored half the amount of points for whoever had him on his fantasy. So it's like, if Bell doesn't show up, what's going to happen? If Antonio Brown doesn't show up, what's going to happen?
What's gonna happen? Yeah.
They are 8-2, and they have held their opponents to less than 17 points. But their point differential, think about it, their point differential from those 17 points is not very high.
Nope.
So they're not scoring a lot. Like this 40 points that they just had on Thursday against the Titans, that was huge. That was the biggest win they had all season, I think. Of course, I don't keep up with the Pittsburgh Steelers schedule like that. But
Right.
anyways, number 4, I got the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they're sitting at 7-3. Saxonville Jaguars, the number 1 defense in the
Jacksonville.
league, plus the number 1 rushing offense in the league. Now, if that's not enough said, then I don't know what it is. Because first of all, defense does win championships, and rushing yards control the game.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're number 1 in both of those aspects, I was almost going to put them at number 2. But the people that I got in my top 3 deserve being in the top 3. And then starting with that, number 3, I got the Minnesota Vikings sitting at 8-2. And the reason for that is Case Keenum. He leads quarterbacks uh, in quarterback rating. The only person that's actually he doesn't lead technically. Deshaun Watson leads quarterback rating, but Deshaun Watson is out for the season with a torn
Right.
hamstring or ACL. So active quarterbacks, Case leads in quarterback rating. Also, the Minnesota Vikings offense, um, they have the best quarterback efficiency against the blitz. So basically, because most teams blitz probably third down, second down. They don't use some teams,
Right.
not most teams, most defenses don't blitz the first down. They like to see
Right.
what you're gonna do. So when it comes down to it, second and third down, they are the most efficient offense to have. That's why I got them at number 3, Minnesota Vikings. Plus they're 8 and
Now who are they?
2.
Wait a minute. Now the Vikings are. You said you got them as number 3. The Vikings. Who they playing this week? The Lions. Yeah, but they're playing the Lions this week, man.
Yeah, I think so. That don't mean nothing. The Lions, I got them way down the list. The Lions have been
Wait,
playing sloppy.
go
They're
ahead.
down the list, man. They're shaking hands with people like I don't know. Yeah.
Packers.
Yeah.
No, not as low as not as bad. They ain't shaking hands with the Packers yet. But go ahead, finish out your top 10, man.
Anyways, the top 2 teams could probably easily be guessed. It just depends on which way you want to put it. But number 2, I got the New England Patriots, led by Tom Brady. They're sitting at 8 and 2. They got a great offense. Um, and since so the Patriots started the season 2 and 2.
Yeah.
And they had arguably the worst defense in those 4 games in the history of the NFL. They were allowed. They were they were allowing
I don't
like
think that's arguably, Rob. I think that's accurately.
well, there were some really bad defenses. A lot of Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns had a lot of bad defense, but the Patriots were allowing 34 and a half points per game. I think in those 4 games.
Mm.
But since those 4 games, now it's only been 6 games, but the Patriots have only allowed 12.5 points per game in those 6 games. And the most points scored against them was 17 in those 6 games. So, on top of Tom Brady they have the number 1 passing offense right now. And that's obviously Tom Brady. He's playing like he's 28 or 31 or something. I don't know how old he is. His wife looks 28. He looks 29. I don't know what's going on. I need to go to their house and like drink their water or something. They got the youth well in the backyard or some shit. But they Tom Brady's killing it. Like the Patriots just man, I told everybody at the beginning of the season, do not worry about this 40-year-old hump or whatever they were calling it. Tom Brady is still going to come in and kill it. Like there's no chance. And even after that first week blowout when they got destroyed by the Chiefs, everybody was saying
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady's over the hump. He can't do it. He can't do it. You cannot say stuff to this man.
No.
He was picked 199 and he's won 5 Super Bowls.
Yes, he
You're
have.
giving him fuel, man. He's like Michael Jordan. You can't tell him he can't do something or he's gonna do that and 6 times more than that.
Yep.
6 times you get that? 6 championships. Anyways.
Yes.
Number
I got it,
number
Rob. I
number
definitely got
one.
it.
Number 1, I got the Philadelphia Eagles.
The
They got the best
Philadelphia Eagles.
record.
I knew that was coming.
They got the best first of all, they got the best record in the NFL. They got the most passing touchdowns in the NFL. They got the most points scored in the NFL. They got the best red zone efficiency in the NFL. They're third in forced turnovers and also allowing the second fewest third down conversions. Now, if that team isn't just phenomenal right now, and if they're not number 1, I actually saw a top 10. Um, Somebody posted it on YouTube. I check it out. I'm not going
Right?
to say their names, but I've checked people's top 10, and they actually had the Philadelphia Eagles number 2 and the New England Patriots number 1. I honestly don't see how you can argue that.
Mm,
The
I
Eagles are
don't see
just
now.
killing it right now.
Yeah,
Killing it.
I would put the My top.
There's
If I didn't get a chance to make my top 10, but they definitely would have been either the 1 or 2 seed, but probably the number 1
now
seed.
as of late, Carson went like take back the past 2 weeks.
Okay.
Carson Wentz was playing better than Tom Brady. But as of these past 2 weeks, Tom Brady has been playing the best and the most efficient. Next to Case Keenum. Case Keenum has been playing just on a phenomenal level, carrying the
Yeah, he has.
Minnesota Vikings. But Philadelphia Eagles got to be number one. They're just not because of their record. I mean, if they were 8-2, the same as the Patriots, I'd still have the number one because just the
Right.
fact that, like what I just said, they got the most passing touchdowns. That leads to scores. They scored the most points by, I think, more than 3 touchdowns. They got the best red zone efficiency, which means every time they go into the red zone, guys, they score.
They
Whether it's a
score.
field goal or it's a touchdown, they don't miss field goals and they don't miss touchdowns. And they're the one team in the top 10 that isn't suffering major injuries.
Right.
I mean, the Minnesota Vikings lost their star running back early in the season. The Patriots lost their star wide receiver in the preseason.
They did.
Um, Jacksonville, their starting running back has been injured the past 2 weeks. They still got a hot defense. The Steelers, they got Big Ben. He's always I don't know if he's injured or what. He plays like he's injured. The New Orleans Saints, they had so much hope in Adrian Peterson, and then they didn't even utilize him, so they traded him to the Cardinals. So that affected them. They might not actually have those 2 losses had they never picked up AP. I mean, they've been playing extraordinary since they got rid of Adrian Peterson. So just think about it. If they had never tried to focus hard on Adrian Peterson, the New Orleans Saints might be 10-0 right now. If they had never made the move in the offseason to
But
pick up
but
Adrian
when some but
Peterson,
when some but when I mean look at but when someone has played the way Adrian Peterson has played in the past, you
yeah,
kind
no,
of
I'm
want
not
to.
saying that it was his fault. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying he played bad, but I'm saying the New Orleans Saints had a strategy. We're going to get AP in the offseason. Bam, we got a running back. Holy shit, we got Drew Brees and Adrian Peterson. We are a beast. So they then flip their script, which has led to, they have a good rushing game. But I'm saying with Adrian Peterson, they flipped their script to try to get AP the ball. Okay. They
Okay.
didn't, they obviously saw something in the practice preseason um, that they didn't want to give Adrian Peterson the ball because the first game they didn't really give him the ball too much. He wasn't doing
No.
anything. So they then mid game have to change their strategy. Okay, that probably led to a loss the first 4 weeks. Had they never worried about that, they just went in with the strategy that they have.
Right.
They might potentially be 10-0. They might be the hottest team
Potentially.
because early in the season when you have somebody that's so influential like Adrian Peterson join your team, you just you have this sense of attraction to a method. Like there's a certain method that just you're attracted to,
Right.
and I think that
You get
that's what.
comfortable.
Well, it's not that you get comfortable; it's that you're forced to get comfortable because you think that you can be, because you got somebody like AP that's
Exactly.
so good, so you think that you can be comfortable. But then you get rid of them and they just play. They go on a tear. They're just killing it. They're killing it.
So do you think the opposite of that is what happened with Green Bay?
No, I think that Green Bay just has had Adrian or Aaron Rodgers for so long that without him carrying the team, being the captain, being the champion, being the golden boy,
Right.
they're without leadership because Jordy Nelson is not a leader. Clay Matthews is not a
No.
leader. There's nobody else on that team.
He's out.
There's nobody else on that team that can step up. There is nobody else. There's nobody else that could stand in front of the room and say, do this, do this, do this, and we'll win. And everybody will do it.
We'll
because
put it
that's
on.
what
We'll put it on. We'll put it on. We'll put it on. Ha ha, Clinton Dix. How about that?
Clinton Dix is really good, but he's not a leader.
No, he's not a leader, but he is good though. He is pretty good.
Yeah, I'd like to meet his parents. You know, why'd they name him that? What do you want to name the
Yeah,
kid? I don't know.
that's probably what they were thinking. First thing that comes to your mind, ha
Haha, I can't believe this is happening to us.
ha.
But
Ha ha, Clinton Dix. What a name.
if you don't have anything more, I just want to talk about the NBA real quick before we sign off of this. Some of the NBA news, you know, who's leading the whatnot. We got Boston Celtics still winning. I think that their last time I checked, which was yesterday. I don't know if it's still current, but the Boston Celtics are still on a winning streak. Some people even say they won't lose all season, which
Oh, they'll
I don't
lose.
believe that one bit. You got 81
They'll lose.
games in the NBA. They're gonna lose. But
They'll lose.
we got the Boston leading the Atlantic. They're sitting at 16-2. We got the Detroit Pistons, which is actually the same division as the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Detroit Pistons are leading the Central at 11-6. The Cavaliers are 10-7. Then you got the Washington Washington Wizards. You got the Washington Wizards leading the Southeast at 10-7. Golden State Warriors, they lead the Pacific at 13-4. The Houston Rockets lead the Southwest at 13-4. Portland, Minnesota, and Denver are all tied at 10-7 in the Northwest. And then in the conferences, Boston leads the East. Houston and Golden State are tied in the West. Um, I think it's interesting that there was a big, huge debate on whether Kyrie Irving was going to be successful at Boston because everybody was. We had half of
I
the
saw that.
NBA community was half of the NBA community was arguing that Kyrie Irving needs LeBron James, and then half of the other NBA community was saying nope, LeBron James needed Kyrie Irving. I'm gonna be honest. I was with the side that said that LeBron James needs Kyrie Irving.
Yes,
Everybody
he
says that
does.
LeBron James is the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. No, he's not. LeBron James, okay, in NBA, you have alpha scorers and then you have floor generals. Okay, alpha
Hmm.
scorers are people that always, you know, score the most points. Floor generals are the people that call the plays and run the show. The thing that LeBron James needs, he needs an alpha scorer. Everybody puts that label on him because he's LeBron James. But if LeBron James doesn't have another alpha scorer with him, he lacks. I mean, yes, he puts up the triple doubles, he puts up all the numbers, he leads all the statistics, he's the greatest basketball player ever, blah, 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 blah. But he's not the GOAT. He's not the greatest of all time. That will be, even when LeBron James retires, Michael Jordan will still be the greatest of all time. Everybody's going to argue, well, if it's all about championships, blah, 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 then why is Bill Russell not the champion? Bill Russell was on a team that could have won all those championships without him. You still there? BJ.
My bad. My bad, man. I don't know what happened, dog. Hey, man.
What was that?
That's what happens when you go. I don't know what happened, man. It went off, but we back. I'm sorry. What was you saying? Last thing I heard was LeBron James needs. Go ahead, man. My bad.
What were you doing?
Well, I think my computer went to sleep.
Is it a new video?
No, it's the same video. Go ahead.
Well, I was saying LeBron James needs an alpha scorer on his team to be successful. Just think about it.
Because he's
When he
always had that. He's always
he's
had that when he's
always
been at his
had that.
best. Yeah,
Always,
yeah.
always had that. And everybody's making arguments that he's the greatest of all time. Blah blah blah. He's the best that ever did it.
Right.
No, he's not. He's not. Because when LeBron James took the Cavaliers the first time to the finals, they got destroyed. LeBron James
Yeah.
couldn't do anything. He quit playing the
Right.
last 2 games. Then he switches and goes to the Heat. And yes, that was a very shady move because he wasn't even talking about doing any of that the year before. He just up and did it. And then he wrote a letter to the Cleveland community about how sorry he was for doing it.
Yeah.
What a bitch. But I'm saying, but then he goes to the Heat with a fully stacked team, a D Wade who had already won championships or won a championship, and Chris Bosh who had experienced the playoffs. Already
Get him,
so,
Rob. Get him.
all
Get him,
already
Rob.
he was already a solid team. LeBron James has his alpha scorer. He has his premium rebounder, and then all he has to do is just basically fit in. And then they go in there and they win two titles. Did they win the first year? No. They lost the first year that all three of them were together. Then they won 2 in a row. And then when the contracts were getting to redo, he decides to say, "Hey," he gives the Cleveland GM a call saying, "Hey, if you get these people, I'm gonna come back. Just give me this and get these people." So bam, he goes back there. They pick up J.R. Smith from the Knicks, and they didn't even want anything to do with J.R. Smith. I remember reading they wanted nothing to do with him because he has an attitude, he doesn't pay attention. LeBron James tells him no, pick up J.R. Smith, and we are and I'll take care of it. Don't
Because
worry
they do
about
what
it.
LeBron James. They
Yes,
do what
exactly.
LeBron tells them to
LeBron
do.
James went back to Cleveland under circumstances. He didn't just go.
No, he didn't.
Michael Jordan never did that.
No.
Bill Russell never did that. Oh yeah, talking about before I continue about LeBron James, Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time, and people make arguments that the whole 6-0 thing is bullshit. It's a bullshit argument. If that was the case, then Bill Russell would be the greatest of all time. But that's absolute shit. You don't even know basketball. Because take Bill Russell off of those Boston Celtics teams, and they still would have won 10 championships without Bill
What?
Russell.
You
Hell
think
yeah,
so?
hell yeah. That team was loaded. I mean, maybe not 10 or 11 or 10 in a row, but of those 11, those 12 years they went to the finals, they would have won 8 at least without Bill Russell. I guarantee it.
Okay. All
Hell,
right,
if
Rob. You
if
gonna
Bill
turn some of my
if
viewers
Bill
against?
if Bill Russell was, I mean, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't really matter because why is okay if that's not the case? Why do people not say that Bill Russell is the best? Because people know that without Bill Russell being on that team still would have won. That team went on a tear, and it wasn't because of Bill Russell. Why is it that
Okay,
Mike?
so do you think? Okay, so do you think that LeBron would have won if the teams that if the team if LeBron wasn't with the Heat? Do you think the Heat would have won those championships?
If LeBron went to the Heat team,
No, if LeBron wasn't on the Heat, do you think that they would have won those championships?
uh, depends. Probably not. I mean, think about it this way: the second championship that they had wouldn't even have happened without Ray Allen, and they picked up Ray Allen off of free agency because the Boston Celtics didn't want to re-sign him. So yes, the Heat won this. Okay, the first year they lost. The second year they won. The third year that it was Chris Bosh, LeBron James, um,
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne Wade, and Ray Allen.
Dwayne Wade. Yep.
They would have lost to the Spurs before. Uh, they would have lost to the Spurs had not Ray Allen hit that three. Chris Bosh, the rebound, he was the rebound puzzle that he was the piece of the puzzle that did the rebounding. He fed the ball when at the other end of the court. He LeBron James needs that type of puzzle. And I know it's a team sport. Everybody's gonna say, "Oh, he needed Pippen. Michael Jordan needed Pippen. He needed Pippen. Needed Pippen." Okay,
Pippen, though.
yeah,
He
he
did need
did.
Pippen.
Yeah, he did need Pippen. But Michael Jordan was great before him. Michael Jordan
He was, but he needed
led the league in scoring, steals, and offense. And he was first defensive team all the years. Well, not all the years. He was definitely leading scorer, but not steals. At least 3 of the years in steals, and then every year He was the top scorer before Pippen even got there. Now, the only thing in my eyes that can stand up to Michael Jordan's greatness is LeBron James has never lost in the first round of the playoffs. He's never lost in the first round of the playoffs, which is something really, really, that's actually really spectacular. But just because you
So you don't
lead
think? So
statistically,
what you saying? So what you saying is you don't believe LeBron James is on the same level of greatness as Michael Jordan?
no, he's not. Not even close. He's not even on the same level of
That is to
greatness
be.
as Larry Bird or Magic Johnson.
Woo! You gonna cause a lot of scrutiny. You gonna cause a lot of backlash on us,
Mm-hmm.
Rob.
Don't even matter. LeBron James
The
right
LeBron
now
fans ain't gonna love you
is
for that, man.
LeBron James is barely a top 5 all-time player on my list. I'm not gonna say my top 5, but he's not in it. Barely in it. Might be tied.
I would put him in my top five. I would put him in my top five.
But anyways, I was saying,
But he would be behind. He would be number five.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he would be either 5 or maybe 6 on my list. He the way
Okay.
that it has gone down. Yes, he is a great basketball player. He is great. He is great. He can do a lot of things. He can do a lot of things that Michael Jordan couldn't do. But Michael Jordan did it the best. What Michael Jordan did, he did the best.
Yeah, he did.
And
He did, man.
had Michael Jordan not wanted to go play baseball for some stupid, well, I mean, it wasn't a stupid reason. His dad loved baseball. His dad died. He wanted to go play baseball. Okay, we get that. That's fine. Had that never
Space Jam.
happened, Michael Jordan would have 8 championships and 0 losses. There's no debate about that. You can't even say that he would have lost because there wasn't a single team that could stand up to the Bulls. There wasn't a single team that could stand up to them. And you can't say that the Bulls didn't need Michael because they lost without him. They lost without him. Plus, when he came back, they won 3 in a row again.
Yeah, they did. I was just getting ready to say they lost when he was gone. When they came back, when he came back, they started winning again.
He
Yeah,
came back better. Like he was a more
yeah.
full, he was a more fuller basketball. I think he was averaging more assists, he was averaging more rebounds, he was averaging more steals. He wasn't averaging nearly as many points. Uh, his second three-peat, but the only other team to three-peat was the Lakers, and that was with Shaq and Kobe. That was
Shaq, the dynamic, deadly duo.
yeah.
Telling
So
you,
I'm saying,
man.
I'm saying,
Kobe.
it's like, okay, how about this? Everybody's saying, oh, LeBron has done more at the same age as Michael. Okay. But LeBron has played for 5 more seasons. You know, like he came into the league, um, I think like 4 years. He came straight out of high school, LeBron James. So he played 4 years
Yeah,
ahead of Michael Jordan. Yeah, he played 4 years ahead of Michael
mm-hmm.
Jordan. This whole argument about
He did.
LeBron James has accomplished more at the age of 32, that's bullshit. If Michael Jordan had decided to come straight out of high school, I mean, he probably would have sucked because he was terrible in high school, according to what he says.
He was there. He was
Yeah, he
garbage.
said he was bad in high school. But I'm saying the development of college, all of that made him better. But say LeBron James go to college. He takes the 4-year deal, comes in, take 4 years off of him. He wouldn't have had that one loss at Cleveland. He might not have had that loss in Cleveland. Cleveland may have played better, so maybe they wouldn't have the first pick. Maybe they would have traded up for it just to keep him at home. You never know. The amount of moves that could have made inside the NBA as a whole would have been it could have been way different in those 4 years. You never know what would
Mm-hmm.
have happened if LeBron James had went to
You're
college.
right.
So I'm saying you can't compare that. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to compare anything, you compare the 15 years that they both have been in the league currently. And in those 15 years, regardless of age, because they've both been in 15 years right now, I think. I think this is LeBron James' 15th year. I know LeBron James had just passed the
Mm-hmm.
amount of games. He has just now played the same games
Mm-hmm.
as Michael Jordan. So in those 15
Mm-hmm.
years,
He still got years
yeah,
left.
he still has years left. In those 15 years, Michael Jordan is 6-0. LeBron James is 3-5 in the final. Now, this gets into the argument saying, well, he's been to 8 finals. He's great. He's led the league in scoring. He's led the league in assists. He's led the
Mm-hmm.
blah 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 blah, all that nonsense. But at the end of the day, look at the competition. The East has been easy street for a decade now. And you can make arguments that they're coming up now that the Celtics were booming back in the day. But yeah, the Celtics were booming back in the day. But that's just it. It was back in the day in
Back in the day,
09.
yeah,
It was 09
yeah, yeah,
or 10
yeah.
that they were doing
That's
anything.
true.
Nobody has been doing anything in the East to give LeBron James a challenge. Think about the 90s.
No.
You got the Pistons, you got Magic, you got the Suns, you got the
Yep.
Jazz. You got
Yep.
all these teams that were fully loaded that Michael just shut down. Think about all the people that would have rings, all the legends that would have rings right now if not for Michael Jordan. You can't say that about LeBron James because people have beaten him
No.
5 times in the final. He's lost
Yeah.
five
They have.
times.
But I think that's more because of the 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 level of celebrity that you are now compared to what you were then. I think there was a lot more. I don't think that has anything to do with LeBron's skill. I think that's more of like letting
Yeah,
the
but
pressure of
that's just it. That's just it. Okay, you can be the best at something, but that being the
yeah,
best at something doesn't make you the greatest. The greatest
right,
of all
exactly,
time. The reason that Muhammad Ali was not the best boxer.
at all.
He was not the best boxer. He was actually probably one of the. I mean, he was smart, but he was stupid. I mean, he developed a rope a dope, which is stupid. You just let the guy hit you in the face and stomach and arms until they're tired. If you think about that right now, that's just stupidity. But
Hmm.
he is the greatest boxer of all time. First of all, because he ran his mouth and he backed it up. He did it better than
That's just
anybody.
like that's just like Misha Tate. She's the greatest of all time women's MMA fighter. She may not have been the best, but she was one of the smartest.
And LeBron James, or not LeBron James, Muhammad Ali did it first. First of all, he did it first. He stood up for what he believed was right, which made zero sense if you actually think about it. But he did it anyways when he went to jail or he lost his license because he didn't want to go to the war.
Mm.
And then he comes back 10 years later and beats a George Foreman who everybody thought was unstoppable. But
Beat the shit out of George Foreman.
it's a huge thing. It's a it's a whole picture type of thing. The reason LeBron James will never be the GOAT is because of the way that his career has been. He's been shady too much and he's relied on too many things. Michael Jordan, you can't say that about him. You have
No.
legends. You have Charles Barkley, people like uh, Patrick Ewing have come out and said Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, people have actually come out and said that Michael is the best thing that they've ever seen. Scottie Pippen said some nonsense about Kobe Bryant one time, but whatever. Kobe
You
Bryant,
gotta give Kobe.
everything about
You gotta give.
I'd give Kobe his credit, but every single
About to
thing about
say
Kobe was Michael Jordan. Everything,
no,
everything about him.
no,
Want to bet?
not all of
Want to
it.
bet?
Not all of it.
Every single shot, every single movement, everything. The only thing that Kobe
But
didn't do
Kobe
was
was
stick
good.
his tongue out.
But Kobe was good before Michael Jordan, though.
What?
Like Kobe was good. Like what? Kobe came straight from high school, didn't he?
Yeah, but he wasn't that good.
But he had to be to come straight from high school. Kobe was
No,
already
no,
good.
he was all right. There's a lot of people that come from high school that aren't that good. I'm saying Kobe was all right. When he got drafted and then got traded to the Lakers, he wasn't he was average. Number 8, Kobe was average. Shaq was carrying that team. He was a captain. He was controlling the boards. He was getting them the ball. He was doing all the
So you
work.
think Michael Jordan? So you think Michael Jordan made Kobe Bryant?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Kobe Bryant was all Michael Jordan. The way that he shot, everything that he did was just emulating Michael Jordan. He just wanted to be Michael Jordan. The only thing he didn't do was stick his tongue out. Everything else was Michael Jordan. He shot like
So I have
him.
a
He
question.
dribbled like him. He passed like him.
I got a question
I
for
mean,
you, Rob.
okay.
All right, so we know LeBron James. Since we were talking about LeBron James, we know LeBron James didn't go to college. I think LeBron James would have went to if he did go to college.
Where do you think he would have went to? What's it? What
Where
I
could
don't
you? Where do you see that LeBron James would have played if he would have went to college?
probably
Because we
someplace
were
in
saying,
Ohio.
because you were saying like, what if he went to college?
He
Like,
would have
how
went to
would
someplace in Hawaii, in Ohio. Or you think how
you
he
think
would have
so?
done?
Yeah, how do you think he would have been in college? You
I
think
think
he
he would
would
have
have
been
been
good.
average, mediocre?
No, I think he would have been good. He probably would have been something like dang, who's that Davis dude? Unibrow. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about, dude.
Forget his first name. Something Davis.
Uh,
But he would have been a
forget
little bit like
last
him. Big, huge guy, just controlling everything.
name.
That's what LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I see LeBron James doing to the college guys. But people are making arguments that LeBron James is the greatest of all time. Now he's not,
Anthony
and he won't.
Davis.
Anthony Davis, that's his name.
I had to think about it. Yeah, Anthony Davis.
But I think even if LeBron James is not going to win three more championships. He might make it to three more, but he's not going to win three more. First of all, because the Houston Rockets are on fire. They got a bomb team. I don't see Harden slowing down for like a good 2 or 3 years. They got Chris
No,
Paul,
James
who's not
Harden
going.
is
Chris Paul is
yeah,
not going to slow down for another few years. Plus, they could potentially pick up who's that center that contract end this year? Dang, I forget his
for
name.
who?
I can't think of his name. Oh, there's a really good center that his contract's ending this year, but he could potentially go to Houston. I know I've read about it, but then you got people Golden State, who's gonna be just on fire for like the next 5 years. I mean, unless they start making some stupid trades.
He said the next
But
5 years.
but
They gonna get
LeBron
rid of
James has to.
Clay Matthews. I mean Clay Thompson.
Why would they get rid of Klay Thompson?
I was just joking.
Yeah, they ain't gonna get rid of the Smash Brothers. But but all of that. First of all, the Celtics, the way that they're playing, if this isn't just a fluke and Kyrie Irving is actually leading that team with Jordan Hayward or Howard or whatever his name
Hayward.
is.
Yeah. Jordan Hayward.
Yeah. Um wait, is he still injured? I think he's still injured. Did he get injured?
No, I think he's back by now. Yeah, I think he's back. No, yeah, he's back.
Okay. Yeah, he's well, those two guys. First of all, Jordan, he's killing it. I think he's really good right now. He's playing if he is back. I could be wrong. But I keep saying his name. Kyrie Irving, that's what I meant. He's killing it right now. Um I'm thinking the question was answered. I mean, just look at how they're playing. Cleveland's losing to teams that they shouldn't be losing to, and Boston is on a 14-game win streak, 15-game win streak, led by Kyrie Irving. It's like if this keeps up, wouldn't that be nice Boston, if Boston is the number one team in the East, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are number 8, or not number 8, yeah, number 8, and they play them in the first round, and Kyrie beats him, giving LeBron James his first round loss.
That'd be nice. Because that'd
That
be
would,
his old team slapping him in the face.
and they are a bunch of it is a bunch of old guys over there.
Yeah.
I mean, LeBron
Yeah.
James is 33, I think. Um, Kevin Love, he's like
Kevin Love
29,
is getting up
30.
there too. He's breaking that 30 mark.
Yeah. Um, who else they got there? J.R. Smith, he's old. I mean, he's still good. I like him. I liked him when he played for the Knicks. But
Well, it's some pretty good matchups this week, as a matter of fact.
yeah.
But the Bulls and the Lakers are playing right now as we speak. Bulls are beating the shit out of the Lakers, 52-36, second quarter. The Nets play the Cavaliers tomorrow, 7 p.m. Trailblazers play the 76ers. Raptors play the Knicks.
And
Clippers play the
real
Hawks.
quick, talking about the Lakers. I want to like Lonzo Ball so much,
Dude,
but
he is
but
garbage.
no, I
Hey,
want
I
to like
haven't seen
him.
anything.
He's not as bad as people say because he's
I
actually.
hadn't seen him do anything, man.
What are you talking about? He's the youngest player to have a triple double.
He's not. I mean, the way they hype the ball up, man. He
That's
ain't
no,
really
that's
doing
okay. That's what I
nothing.
was trying to say. I
Yeah,
want to like him, but the fact that his dad and his brothers ran his mouth so much, I
yeah,
can't do it because first of all, you put so much weight on a young rookie that it just makes him disappoint. If the dude
right.
doesn't go 50 points, 10 rebounds, 16 assists, 7 steals, then I mean that's the way they hyped him out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, first of all, his dad said some nonsense about he put Michael Jordan in his mouth, and he's never should have done that. I don't know what the hell he was saying, what he was thinking. But
I hope he wasn't comparing LeVar Ball to Michael Jordan.
no, he was saying something like he would have beat Michael Jordan or something. I don't know.
He
But
needs to be put, he needs to be put to
I don't know.
sleep.
His dad just ruined it. I
He
want
he
to like
ruined the hype. Yeah, he ruined. He definitely ruined the hype.
I wanted to like him so much. And yeah, he's a good ball player, but he's still a rookie. He's making dumb mistakes, making poor choices.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
anyways, Lakers, they'll probably be a good team. Um, 2019 season.
Damn, Rob. Rob just gave up on him this season, man. They ain't worth that this season, Rob.
Yeah, they would have to start playing on some elite level. They got
They have to
rookies.
turn it around, man.
I mean,
They lost without their daddy Kobe.
yeah,
They lost without Kobe, man. But not Rob.
look at it's good. It's a good little comeback. We
A
took
good
last week
comeback.
off. Took last week off. That was it was a little bit unexpected, but this show was I made a part. I made it known. Good reason we had to do this show because we got Thanksgiving coming up. I think it's right. I don't even know what
Yeah,
day it is anymore. It's Tuesday.
it's,
I know that, but
it's Thursday. Thanksgiving is Thursday.
yeah. But we had to do this show. Wanted to say happy Thanksgiving. Make sure you guys eat a ton. Don't worry about dieting. Anybody that's on a diet needs to stop. Um,
Just for Thursday. Just for, at
no,
least Thursday and Friday.
just stop your diet. You only get to live once. You don't need to eat healthy. Start eating stuff and drinking stuff that tastes good to you, that makes you feel good, that makes you happy. Don't worry about all this eating. I mean, if you like salads, then eat salad, but don't worry about eating light and whatnot, man. Especially
Organic.
vegetables and stuff and all that organic nonsense. It's like, blah. Don't worry about it. Eat what tastes good to you, what you enjoy. Stay, be thankful for what you got. Um, Hang out with your family. I get to see my mother this year. I haven't had Thanksgiving with my mother in a long time, man. I cannot wait to eat that food. Oh my God. Like I want
Yeah,
to
man.
see
And
my
most,
mom. I want to see my mom and hang out with her, but all I can think about is the food that she's gonna make.
I think that's what we all thinking about, dude. Mom's food is just woof. No, my mom is cooking and I can't wait. But most of all, guys, be safe this
Yeah,
holiday
for real.
season.
Yeah. If
Like,
you're gonna,
don't. If you're gonna drink, feel free drink. Just don't jump behind the wheel. I mean, come on, guys. You got Uber, you got Lyft, you got your 16-year-old cousin who just got their driver's license. I mean, come
yeah,
on.
I would rather them drive than you with any type of
Yeah,
drinks in you.
yeah, most
And
definitely. So
don't be one of these smart little these tend to, I'm not trying to be sexist. These tend to be the females. Oh, I only had one glass of wine. Don't be dumb. Okay? One glass of wine will do just as much damage as drinking, you know, 6 beers, depending on who you are.
and what type of wine you drinking? That cheap wine will
Yeah.
miss. That cheap wine will fuck you up now.
Yeah. So just be smart, have a good time, buy some people some presents, eat all the food, no leftovers. See if you can challenge yourself. Challenge your family to no leftovers. That's the challenge that I'm sending out to all the fans in
Uh
Scrutiny
oh.
Nation.
Uh oh. Well,
No
guys,
leftovers.
We got Christmas coming up. Like I said, guys, we got some things cooking. Got an interview coming up with well, actually, a couple good news. You know, we had missed our interview with Leah Letson. She's home. She's back in the States. We got our interview coming up. She reached out to me. That's awesome. Can't wait. We got that. We also got a interview coming up with Damian Brown. So you guys are definitely
Yeah, but
going to be.
that hasn't been finalized yet. So
That hasn't been finalized, but he agreed to do it. So we're saying it's finalized. We're saying
yeah,
it's we're going to do it.
yeah, because
So
we're the boss. We're the boss. We
that's
don't have a
right. That's
boss.
right.
We
We
don't
offered him the
ask
interview.
nobody.
It's right. We offered him
We
the
don't
interview.
look up to nobody. We're a
He
boss.
gets he gets the privilege to come on Sports Scrutiny Live. Not
Whoa,
we
whoa,
get the privilege. Oh, no, let me stop. Let
whoa,
me
whoa.
stop before he sees that. Damien,
Hey, did you
don't.
you saw his fight? Man. You need to calm down.
But we got that coming up, guys. So just stay with us, guys. Stick with us. You know, we're back. We're back in full effect.
Yep.
And,
Like, share, subscribe, notifications. Bam.
like, share, subscribe. That's all you
Actually,
gotta do.
not in that order. That's what you should do. You should subscribe, notification, like the video, then share everything.
Instant. There you go, Rob. But guys, let us know what you think. Follow us on Twitter at Sports Scrutiny. Follow us on Facebook, Sports Scrutiny Live. We are going to be expanding our social media soon. Once we get more subscribers and more likes and more views, um,
Yeah,
we get in.
we want to get more people that way. Like if we the more people we get, basically, it's not to be popular. We want more people so that we know when we invest into the show, we're gonna get a good following. Because
Exactly.
it's if we make the huge investment and it backfires, then it'll be just disappointing, and me and
A
BJ
big fail.
we won't want to do it no more.
Right.
So we wanna be able to put the investment in and also be backed by a good fan base. Because
Exactly.
you know how disappointing it is to put so much work into something and then it backfires or people don't like it, or you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean. It's just like we want to know that we got people that enjoy what we're putting out, product we're putting out.
Right. And like I said, guys, like we always say, we just try to bring y'all. Um, we just try to. I mean, the point of doing this is like I said, we're two average Joes, and we just like sports. We like to talk about sports. We like to share our opinions. We like to inform you on what's going on because we are
Yeah,
the
yeah,
hottest
yeah.
channel.
We could talk about this. I'm glad that we started this year because we could talk so much about how soft the NFL players are. Talk about all the
How corrupted the UFC is.
yeah, and how all the strange trades going on in the NBA.
Super strange.
How the Pittsburgh Penguins are just winning championship after championship.
We're getting there,
Hope
guys. We're getting there. We got our little.
hopefully hopefully we're big time. We got thousands of fans when the
Go
Olympics
ahead.
come up. Because in 2020, I cannot wait for the Olympics because I watch every single
Oh,
minute of the Olympics. I don't care what it is. I'll watch
we'll be,
people throw potatoes if it was in the Olympics. I watch
dude.
everything about the Olympics.
We'll be at the Olympics. We'll be at the next Olympics. We'll be somewhere in the sideline, somewhere. We'll be somewhere behind a desk with headsets on,
Where is
talking
the
about
next
what's going
Olympics? I
on.
forget. It's damn sure not in the
I
United States.
no, I don't know. I have to look it up. I have no idea. But yeah, guys, we just like to do this. This is fun for us. You know what I'm
Hopefully, it's fun
saying?
for you.
Oh, it's fun for you. Yeah, it's fun for them. You know what's kind of strange is we got to get our timing down. People tend to like to go back and watch our videos versus watching it live. You can watch us live. But people go back. Like it's crazy how we go back throughout the week and just to look at the channel and we see the views just going up and up and up and up. We're like, you guys could just catch us live.
Yeah, but it's good that they maybe somebody's working and
Yeah, oh yeah.
maybe their baby's acting up or something. You never know.
But we're gonna, like I said, like I told you guys a couple weeks ago, we're gonna do a Facebook Live coming up soon. I don't know how I just gotta we just got to figure out how to do that. I don't know how to do that. I'm trying to figure it out. Working with few different platforms, how to stream a live stream on Facebook, and it's save actually to our channel because we don't want to do a whole episode and then that episode not make it,
Well,
not stay.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So we'll try to. I'm gonna figure that out, guys, to where we can simultaneously stream to Facebook and to our Twitter and also to our YouTube channel because our YouTube channel comes first, of course. So just hang with us, guys. Like I have not technologically advanced at all. I'm surprised I was able to get us this far because I have no idea what I'm doing as far as technology. So I got a couple of tech savvy friends that are gonna. One of them's looking up how to get that going for us as well. So we'll get it going, guys. We'll figure it out. But just stay with us. Stick with us. We'll be here. We're gonna keep going, and hopefully one day you'll see us on ESPN or Fox or somewhere. You know,
Word.
but you gotta keep liking and you gotta keep subscribing and you gotta keep sharing. So keep talking about us.
Yep.
So we're gonna peel out. Thank you guys for tuning in with us, and we will catch you guys. Ooh,
Next
Rob, we
week.
have to. Oh, Mark, man, we got to get the hell off of here.
Yeah, I know. My phone's gonna die. Then what? Like your
Peace.
later.
Hold on, it's still live. We're still live. We're still live.
Bye.
Oh, I don't think I pressed the stop broadcast. Hold on.